Hi. In this next episode, we're going to talk about processes. What a process is a running instance of a program in Linux. These could be processes that are running in the background, and they are referred to as system or service daemons, which are really things that are happening in the background, like, for example, our firewall or our SSH server that we don't actually interact with face-to-face directly through the shell until we start to use the actual client-side program, like the SSH command, for instance. So a process is really a running instance of a program, and it don't have to be tied into your shell. It's just any program which is running on Linux. The key characteristics of processes includes a process identifier, which is unique to every single process, a parent process ID if a process is a child process of another process, a user ID for the user who's in charge of that process, and of course, a process state, meaning is the process currently running, is the process stopped, or in some other state. So coming up in the lab, we're going to talk about more about how to identify processes and the different tools you can use within the command line in order to see which processes are actually running on your Linux system. Please stay tuned for the lab. In this episode, we're going to show how to work with processes inside of Linux. Now, processes is very similar to Windows. It's anything that's actually running and using compute resources. These are your services running in the background and any programs you might have opened or are working with. So by default, every single process, everything that is happening in Linux is given a process identifier that allows you to then manage those processes. So for the sake of it, I'm going to open Firefox here on my computer, and I'll actually run some commands directly from the shell. I'll put a sleep command for 600 seconds, and I'll just have it run in the background a few times. So I'm actually just starting some processes. Now, all of these processes, including Firefox, actually have a process ID, which allows me to then manage that process, whether I want to kill it, whether I want to change the process priority, or whatever I need to do with the process. How we can observe that process and identify it is by using a few commands. The first one I'll share is top. And here is kind of a table of processes. I can type in here U and just filter for the administrator user. And you can see this is the Firefox process. And what is the process ID of it? That's the PID. What is the state of it? Whether it's sleeping, some processes are sleeping, some processes are running. And it lets me know about the process, its ID, the CPU and memory, and all the details that I need to understand about a process in order to then start managing that process. So this is an easy way. There's also jobs -L will let you know the job and the process ID tied to one specific job. And there's other commands such as PS, which is process status, lets you know what are the processes that this shell, this command line shell, is aware of. All right, so few ways to actually understand or identify processes using the process ID, but only one way to understand processes, which is something that is happening inside the Linux shell. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I'll see you in the next one.